On a snowy mountain, we see an almost naked man and a knight. The knight questioned how the almost naked man managed to escape the ropes. But the almost naked man couldn't understand him, so there was no point in asking. In a different language, the almost naked man introduced himself as Ulrich from the Rockaxe tribe. Even though he doesn't understand the man through warrior's honor, he was able to understand his name. The knight introduced himself as Forgul Arten, Knight of the Empire, and the fighting starts. The barbarian rushes at the knight, so he gets ready to parry and then counter. But the barbarian throws his sword away and hits him with a mean-ass combo, and the battle ends. After the battle, the barbarian falls down feeling dizzy. We then see as an elder woman is explaining to our MC about him being a great warrior one day. But the MC doesn't believe her and gets ready to leave. And as he was leaving, she reminds him about the chieftain position. But the MC isn't interested in the chieftain position. Granny reminds him that even though he doesn't want to be chieftain, others would want him as their chieftain. He leaves to go hunting with his firens. We see that the MC visits the granny because he doesn't want her to die alone. His friends question him if he really plans on climbing the Sky Mountain range. There are rumors of spirit worlds past the mountains, and if you go beyond you may never come back. But this is something the MC must do because a while back the son of the chieftain, his rivals, caught a wolf the size of a cow, so to not lose he must climb the Sky Mountain range. His friends were still hesitant, so he tells them that they go past the lower parts, which is used as a hunting grounds for the elders, and that they shouldn't be cowards. Motivated, his friends joined in, and they set off. Up on the mountain range, the MC wonders what's past the Sky Mountain range, if it is really as the rumors say. But his deep thinking is interrupted by his friend Vald, who acts if he really has no interest in the chieftain position. The MC isn't interested in the position, he just doesn't want the son of the chieftain to have it. Since he doesn't want the son of the chieftain to have it and be taking orders from him, he is told that he should be the one giving the order instead. He tells them to shut and talk about it later, but they continue saying that he would be a really good fit for chieftain. He notices something in the bushes and orders his men to get down. A storm of arrows rain down on them, dropping some of his men. He takes a closer look at the arrows, noticing that the craftsmanship was too advanced. Taking responsibility for his men, he orders them to take the wounded and head down. He tries pinpoint the enemy's location, so he picks a spear of the ground and throws it in the direction the arrows were coming from, hitting one of them. But as he approached, he hears a different language, and he sees cloths he's never seen before. This was his first encounter with the humans from over the mountain range. He tries asking if they were from over the mountain range, but he couldn't understand them and they couldn't understand him. As he is getting ready to destroy them, a heavily armored man steps up wanting to capture the MC alive, as a gift to the Emperor for the discovery of new lands. He arrogantly throws his shield away and starts bragging about his armor. The MC gets upset about being treated like lightweight, so he threw his axe blade right between the gap of his helmet, almost taking his eyes. The MC has the upper hand, and as he was about to finish him off, his men jumped in and shot arrows, injuring the MC. The captured MC was taken to the men's camp, and at the camp the warriors are worried if the MC would survive long enough to meet the Emperor. The protagonist becomes excited at the idea of there being more beyond the mountain range than just a place where the dead rest. Feeling the cold, he breaks out of the ropes that tied him while laughing. The other men hear his laughing and looked over and notice that he is approaching them. Inserts, "Oh, you're approaching me. Deal meme." While the knights panic, the MC just goes around sending them to meet the creator, till none was left. After he sets off on a journey to explore this new unknown world, we then see a thief being chased as he trips over some rocks and falls down, and the men that were chasing him caught up, and as they were about to take their payment, the MC arrives, not meaning to interrupt. The men gets the MC's face, so he kindly twisted his neck. The other get angry and launch themselves at him, but they were also quickly disposed off. Using drawing he made on the ground, he asks the man he just saved to take him to the cities, and the man takes him to the city of Ankara. The city of Ankara is a huge city. This is because of copper mine. The MC looks around in awe because he hasn't seen so many people in his life, and they make their way to a pub. The from earlier asks him a question, but he realizes that the MC doesn't understand, so he asked the people in the pub. None of the man could understand what our MC was saying, since he couldn't speak the imperial language, that he is probably a savage from the north. Deciding to find him a translator later, he takes out 2 copper coins and buys them drinks. This is interesting to the MC because in his economy they traded using meat and leather. The MC then see a finely crafted axe on a man's back, so he asks how he can get it, Another man decides to play the MC because he is strong and he can fight. While waving the coin around, he answers saying the MC would need a lot of seals, and he asked if the MC would be interested in making big money. He bring him to the Ankara gambling fighting ring so that he could fight, and he gives the MC the rules, which is you can't kill your opponent. The MC is disappointed in the lack of competition, while recalling the fight he had with the Knight Fortgal. A few months pass and we see the MC on a bed surrounded by bottles. Even though they have been doing the fights, they still couldn't afford the axe, and in fact they now owe the bar a lot of money. He is woken up to get ready for his fight. And at the fighting hall we see that the MC has built quite the reputation as the crowd cheer his name. The fighter are then called up, and at the start of the fight the MC is having difficulties dodging the other fighter's punches. This irritates him and he lands a punch, sending his tooth along with him flying, ending his life. They are kicked out and told not to ever return, and his partner is thinking about ending his business with him. In his room he think about why he turned his back on his home, and also about the battle on the Sky Mountain Range. In the morning it looks like Pardon has found him another place to fight. When they arrive the MC notices that there isn't an audience, as one of the few men present directed murderous intent at him to test him. The MC grabs onto his weapon straight away. Wick made the slave traders happy. His partner has plans of selling him into slavery. He is asked to fight to prove his strength, and the MC easily overwhelmed his opponent to the point he started taunting him. And as he asked to use real weapons, the fight is stopped. While they talk the price over, the MC grabs a sword and rushes at his partner, cutting his hands off. The man screams, asking why. He responds in the imperial language, asking the man to open his mouth so he can cut out his tongue. Surprised by this, the traitor begs to be given one more chance, but he is brutally sent to the afterlife. He hands one of the men back his sword, and as the slave buyer is about to leave, he asks him to continue negotiating with him, and then negotiate the cuts of an independent gladiator. But for him they will pay him with food, cloths, and a place to stay. They introduce themselves, and he is welcomed into the Horus Gladiator team. At the camp, while talking to one of the other gladiator, the face of the gladiator team, Donovan, approaches him and bring up the fact that the MC smells like a barbarian. The MC responds saying that they talk too much and that he knows the reason why. It is because there doesn't get cut of no matter how much they talked, and threatens to take his neck. The slave trader steps in and stops the fight from breaking out. Colosseum while getting ready for his fight. He is advised by his partner Sven to use a helmet, but the MC says the helmet just weighed him down. Sven asks him about his sword since it uses steel used only in blades for the Empyrean royal family. But before he responds, his fig was up. He asks Sven to take right guy and he will take the other. The other gladiator starts talking about them having no shield to defend, but the MC quickly rushes at him, ending the fight in an instant. He looks over at the older man, but he was also down with his fight. We then see the crowd cheering his name. This is because the MC requested a 2 versus 1 and 1. After the fights in a pub, he asks one of the other gladiators about Sven, and he is told that washed up ashore, and because what he believes in might be the reason why he still didn't become a gladiator fully. What the Northerns believe is similar to what he believed, and he asked where the man Thinels he sold will go after death. The man shows him a necklace of the sun, saying it will return to the heart of the sun god where he will be reborn. But the MC who worships the sky say that his faith is grander because the sky enfolds the sun. Later the man enter his room and they discuss the other gladiators. Donovan was a soldier, and it is said that he was in the Phantom Virgins unit, and he is one of the most famous gladiators. But this isn't a problem. The problem is that is involved in the matchmaking. So he takes all the easy money matches for himself and gives the tougher matches to the other gladiators. The MC suggests not accepting the matches, but if they do every time they will starve to death. The MC is asked to become one of the gladiator representatives. He agrees because the one who asked him was the only person that has approached him and treated him kindly after coming to the civilized world. We then see Donovan and the slave master discussing the matchups, and the MC enters and requests to see the matchmaking list Donovan doesn't want him to see. But he moved past Donovan and talks to the slave master about putting him for the last game, which is Donovan's spot. He tells them that if they do, he will take on 5 guys in one fight, and that will attract a lot of attention, bring in a lot of money. The slave trader tells him that he will die, but our MC has no plans of dying, and claims to have never lost a fight. Hearing this, Donovan agrees, and the MC asks for the fight to be promoted widely. In a marketplace, news of the fight is already spreading far and wide, and as the MC and some other discuss lakes and oceans, his friend come begging him to cancel the fight. He tells him that the civilized people are cowards that get scared without trying. But his friend still tries to talk him out of it, so he asked him if he thinks he would lose. And also ask what if he wins. He friend responds saying if he does win from now on he won't question him. He puts on some face paintings and waits for his match. The emperor is worried that the match will be boring, but the slave trader assures him that even if it's a lose, the match won't be boring. The coward gets scared by the MC's face painting. He stands there waiting for his 5 opponents. He friend is worried because the MC's opponents knows how. Donovan is happy because he thinks the MC will lose. Even though they know how to hold their weapons, he isn't worried because they won't coordinate it. They are at a stalemate because no one wants to make the first attack, so he rushes at one of them, taking him out. The other gather together and charge at him, but he dodges all of their attacks and throws his axe, ending another one. Donovan notices that he is using an Empyrean steel sword, and he questions how a barbarian got his hands on a sword like that. The MC jumps and slashes Anoth one, leaving only 2. He taunts them in the fall for it and charge at him. He cuts one down and throws an axe at the other, ending the fight. The coward goes wild, and later Donovan comes and congratulates him on becoming the new rising star of the group. Later, while having dream about his old home and friends, he is woken up to attend a meeting about the schedules. In the meeting, they discuss having someone serve as a throwaway card against the champion, and that he wants Donovan and the MC to enter a 3 vs 3 match, but they pass because one of them wouldn't make it back alive. So instead, Donovan is sent to find people he wants to enter with.